We are live on the Bullpen Podcast. Welcome back. I am your host, Chris Krogerman. You can find me on the Twitter box at ShyBears1985, almost to that magical number of 5,000 followers. So thank you to all that follow me and subscribe to the podcast and all that fun stuff. Joined in tonight by the most recent Disney cruise participant, Mr. Adam Kunos at Kunos19, Kunos19. Adam, where's the 19 from?
19 is my lucky number. When I was 19 years old, I went to a Sox Angels game and saw a triple play turned live. Creedy to rebate to Konerko, and the Sox got blown out by the Angels 7-0.
So you can follow the show at the Bullpen Pod on Twitter. Like, subscribe, rate, review the podcast on all your favorite platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Obviously, you can see us. If you can see us, I've got the Citi Field bullpen entrance up behind me. Adam has his usual array of every team on the planet Earth. You would never know what he is actually a fan of. But if you're friends with Adam on Facebook, you can see all of his pics from his Disney cruise up in Alaska, and he's rocking a Blue Jays hat. He's got several different White Sox hats. But how are you tonight, Adam?
Man, I'm doing good. I'd say the cruise was amazing. It was incredibly warm up in Alaska. I'm talking, we were in the 60s and 70s for most of the time we were in Alaska.
You must have been sweating coming from 98 degrees and 100% humidity of Florida.
We laid out on the pool deck, got tans, we're in a hot tub with drinks. I mean, you can't do that. You can do it in Alaska, I guess, nowadays, but you would never think that I would be walking around a cruise ship in shorts and a swimsuit with a cold drink and not freezing my ass off.
Well, that's fun. So the cruise was good.
So we did have some fun hiccups on the way, Chris, and I think you would enjoy the hiccup we had on the way back. So on the way back, we are in Vancouver, going through security checks. My wife goes through, she gets through fine. I get pulled for special screening by Canadian TSA.
Yes.
And I have both backpacks, a carry-on suitcase that they have to now fully check. I get extra pad down, and it's another half hour that I'm going through this extra security check while my wife is sitting waiting for me. I thought I was going to be stuck in Canada.
Did you get some, what were we talking about? Poutine?
Yes,
whatever.
We did eat poutine while we were in Vancouver. We did find this little Japanese hot dog stand that's made these incredible like hot dogs. You can get like hot dogs with like meat, spices, fried fish, fried chicken on them, poutine.
Okay. Thank you for like
explain that.
Yeah, because hot dogs are meat. Well, at least we think they are.
I mean, kind of, but
they're classified as meat. Well, I can get an all beef Frank. You know, Joey. Let's talk about hot dogs. All right, let's talk about Joey Chestnut and how he played security guard at the hot dog eating contest. Adam, did you watch that at all?
No, you have to fill me in because I was probably in the air or sitting in San Francisco for 5 hours waiting for my next flight.
You didn't get to celebrate America in America? You were in Canada?
I was celebrating America in Canada. So I had the Sox hat, the USA pullover jacket.
Oh, so you were there for Canada Day then too, though, right? Because that was Friday the 3rd or Friday the 2nd or Saturday, whatever.
It was the 1st, but we were still technically in U.S. waters on our way back. So
man, you just don't know where to be on a celebration day. You're like, I'm going to be in America for Canada Day, and I'll be in Canada for America's.
God knows where I'm going to be for Halloween or Thanksgiving this year. Good Lord.
Well, it is what it is. You guys travel a lot. Have been traveling a lot. Not always for fun, but anyway.
So fill me on Chestnut. What happened?
All right. So Joey Chestnut, the best hot dog eater since what's his name? The skinny little dude from Japan. I can't remember his name now. Anyway, Joey Chestnut, has crushed records. So he's up there slamming hot dogs, and some protester comes up there with a sign, and Joey just grabs him around the neck in a headlock and like throws him to the ground. The security comes and grabs the guy and takes him off and whatnot. But yeah,
that is awesome.
He won the contest. I don't think he didn't break any of his own records. I think so. Sports gambling is pretty much legal almost across America now. So there's some interesting prop bets on like how many hot dogs he was going to eat. I think the over under was 76. I don't think he hit it. The hot dogs per minute was 7.5, I think, which I don't think he hit. But apparently he had some sort of injury, which prevented him from eating more hot dogs than he normally does. But I feel like it was like a knee injury, so I don't know how that affects your.
I've seen the contest before. You were sitting down with a plate of hot dogs.
No, he's standing. They're standing. Yeah.
Okay, well, you're standing, but okay. I mean, I know
whatever.
Whatever.
He still won handily. So.
Oh God, anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if he lost.
My favorite thing about the hot dog eating contest, and I haven't watched it in a few years, but I see highlights and stuff, is like they have all these other eating contests like coming in, like they have the women's, they have weight divisions, they have stuff like that. So like they talk about these folks, like they enter the area, the table eating area, like an arena. And the announcers are like, "Oh, here's Adam Kunos. He won the crab cake eating contest up in Maryland. He's won the Philly cheesesteak eating contest in Philadelphia. He slammed down 35 cheesecakes in, an hour. It's like they just pump these people up, and it's fantastic. So,
my God,
we hope everybody had a great 4th of July. My wife is not too thrilled with America right now, so she refused to celebrate, which was understandable. My neighborhood, so we live in Denver, and fireworks are illegal here, but they are legal in Wyoming. So people drive up to Wyoming and bring all the fireworks back to Colorado. So my neighborhood was like a freaking war zone for all the 4th of July. They came over to our house and and handed us some fireworks, said, "Hey, have some fun with your kids, light off some fireworks, and join us in the festivities." So that was pretty cool and pretty interesting. Yeah. So I'm glad you're back, Adam. Glad you made it out of Canada okay. We are sponsored by Fanatics, as you all know. Use the link on our Twitter page and head on over for all your 2022 MLB All-Star Game gear. You can also get your 4th of July America gear. What do you think of the hats this year, Adam? They're pretty, like, they used to just have a flag on them or some fireworks, and now they're like, you remember Zumba pants or whatever from the 90s that the NFL players wore?
This reminds me of old school Dream Team pullovers at the USA men's basketball team used to wear in the 80s and 90s. I felt like it should have fit in with there. Funny story. So we were on the boat in an English pub of all places on the boat, doing some trivia, and they had the Phillies on, and my wife looked at it and goes, "What the hell are they wearing?" I go, "Those are the 4th of July hats." She goes, "Those are ugly." I go, "I'm not a fan of them, but yeah, we'll go with that." Because, I mean, they stood out. I mean, I think they're just getting over exaggerated with some of these designs going through 4th of July, in my opinion. But I don't work for New Era. I have no say in the design.
Maybe they'll ask us next year.
I hope they ask us next year. Say, keep it simple.
So I saw a lot of the hats, because we had the designs up for our show a couple weeks ago, and most of them were pretty stupid. But like the Mets went with the black one, the black hat with the the white face of the hat, and then they had the red and blue splashes, and then they had a black NY on it. It honestly didn't look terrible compared to a lot of the other ones. So I imagine like the Pirates one didn't look that bad. Like I don't know. I think just like if you have a color, like if you're a team with a not pretty dark color, like the Sox probably look pretty good. Like a black team, a black back team, or a team that wears black jerseys, alternatively, I think would look pretty solid with that color face.
I know the
It
White
wasn't bad.
Sox. I know the White Sox a couple times have gone with their '83 throwbacks, the pair of 4th of July, because obviously it's red and blue jerseys with the red and blue hat. So they've done that a couple times where they've paired their '83 jerseys with the 4th of July hat, which, in my opinion, works good when they do that because it fits the color scheme. But I mean, they were interesting to say the least. I will not be purchasing one. So I mean, I'm sticking with my classic Sox with the American flag laid into the logo.
They're hot,
So,
man. I super love them. You're doing great, New Era. If you want to sponsor the show, we'd more than be happy
I
to
will take
rotate
a
the hats
sponsor.
out. And, I like the flex fits, though. So I hope you make those because the fitted hats just never work for my dome. Can never fit them right. I need to resize. So like 3 years ago when the pandemic started, I went on a mad diet and lost a bunch of weight. And apparently there was a lot of fat in my head. My head shrunk apparently somewhat. So I need to find what hat fits me now. The All-Star game was in Colorado this year, so I tried on some hats there because I was going to buy one, but they're outrageously priced, so I didn't. But yeah, I couldn't find the right hat. So
yeah, the Blue Jays hat I got was I went with obviously the classic royal Blue Jay hat. I wanted to get the navy and the baby blue hat version, and of course I paid 50 Canadian, so that's about maybe 47 US.
Good God, for a hat! Remember when they were $20, bro?
I used to have more hats than I have right now, and I think I lived close to a Rawlings outlet, and they sold MLB hats for a while, and I went down a couple times and got maybe 3 or 4 for $40 because they were on sale.
Yeah, so I grew up with Hat Club, and I had so many hats, and they would be like $20, and with the Hat Club membership, you got like $2 off every time, and then like your 5th or 10th hat was like basically free. Yeah, I miss the days of $20 hats. I'm not paying $50 for a fucking hat. I just don't wear them enough. Anyway, let's talk about the last couple of weeks. We've been off. Enough shenanigans. It's 12 minutes into the podcast. We know everything about Adam's trip and all the fun stuff he did. Actually, like I said, if you want to, just go hit him up on Twitter or on Facebook. Adam will show you all his pictures, and it looked like he had a fucking blast, honestly, just looking through his pictures on Facebook today. But I found an interesting little tool on baseballreference.com that will basically show you a win-loss record for teams from a certain past date up until the current date. So we're going to play a little game. We're going to talk some teams, and I'll ask Adam who or what he thinks the record is or win percentage of a team is over the last 2 weeks. All right, Adam, you ready?
Let's do this.
We're going to have some fun. Okay.
Absolutely.
The Houston Astros played 12 games in the last 2 weeks since we last broadcast. What do you think their record was?
In 2 weeks, I'll say they went 2 weeks. I'll say they went 9-3 over a 2 week period.
It's a pretty good guess. They went 10-2 over the last 2 weeks.
Ooh.
They have been kicking the.
They've been hot.
People. They have.
And it's weird because I haven't been connected to. I wasn't connected to the internet for about a week and a half because I'm out of the country and I'm not paying outrageous cellular data. So I'm gonna be guessing on all these guesses on all these teams.
Well, you're gonna hear some very interesting things. The Cleveland Guardians, who are second in the Central. What do you think their record was over the last 2 weeks?
Well, I know they just got swept by the Tigers of Detroit, so I'm gonna say they were a 4-8 stretch.
They went 4-11. I should tell you how many games they played. Sorry,
no, it's all good.
That was my fault. So yeah, they have fallen apart over the last 2 weeks because they were very hot. They are still second in the AL Central at 40-40. They are 5.5 games back of the Twins. A lot of these teams in the middle are very unsurprising. I'll give you the Seattle Mariners, who are 41-42. They played 13 games of the last 2 weeks. What do you think their record was?
Mariners go 6-7.
They were 10-3. The Mariners are red
hot. They got hot apparently.
Very hot. So that's the American League. I'll give you some other interesting ones. The Blue Jays are 5-8. That's not great. White Sox 5-7. The once red hot Red Sox were 6-5. The Yankees were 7-5. Baltimore also 7-5. Detroit 7-4. So some interesting things. The Angels are a shit show. They suck. They're 4-7. The National League has some interesting data as well. Interesting kind of records over that span. So the San Francisco Giants, they are currently, give me a second, third in the NL West at 40-39, so 1 game over 500. They played 11 games in the last 2 weeks. How many of those games did they win, and how many did they lose?
So when we got back, they were just finishing up a series with the White Sox and ended up being swept by Chicago. So that was a nice little surprise coming back to connectivity on my phone. 4-7. I'll say the Giants went 4-7 over that 11-game stretch.
They went 2-9.
Oh man, yeah. They fall off the ledge very quick.
Giants are shit show central. Showy is nasty. The San Diego Padres, another team in the National League West, who is second in the division, also played 12 games. What do you think their record was?
I'll give them a 6-6. I'll say they were 500 over their last 12 games.
They have also hit the fan. They were 3-9 over the last 2 weeks.
Oh my! Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see these numbers broken down over a certain time period because you always get last 10 games on MLB.com, and like these things like rotate. Like it's hard to get a more macro view of a time period, but this is a pretty cool tool on here. We'll stick with the West because it's interesting. The Dodgers played 13 games. What do you think their record was?
13 games. I'll say they went 9-4. I think they stayed pretty hot.
What'd you say?
9-4.
That is correct. 9-4.
Hey, ding ding.
The Braves went 8-4. Milwaukee went 8-4. Miami went 8-4.
Miami's staying a little hot. That's surprising.
Right. They have a couple of really good pitchers. The Cubs surprisingly went 7-5. They are gaining ground. The Mets were 5-5. They had some pitcher injury problems. Obviously, Scherzer's back, but they lost that game anyway because nobody wanted to score. St. Louis went 4-8. That's kind of shitty for them being where they were at. But all interesting things. Quick rundown of all of the leaders. The Yankees still lead the American League East at 58-23. Boston closest at 13 games back. Can you believe that? Boston crawling all the way from.
They were fourth at one point. They were dead last. They were behind Baltimore. I think
we are talking about how under 5. Like they were almost double digits under 500, and they are now 9 games over 500.
That is just crazy.
They had to change. You know, it had to change. I wish I would have done something about that monetarily, but oh well. Minnesota leads the AL Central at 47-38. The Guardians are 4.5 back. The White Sox are 5.5 back. Houston leads the AL West at 53-27. Seattle is the closest team, although just like the NL or AL East, it's 13.5 game separation. followed by Texas, the Angels, and Oakland. In the NL East, the Mets still lead the Braves by 2.5 games, but that division's getting closer. Philadelphia is 7 games back. Milwaukee leads the Central. St. Louis 2.5 games back. Cubs 12 games back. Dodgers lead the West. San Diego has, with like we said a minute ago, with that 3-9 over the last 2 weeks, has fallen 5.5 games back. Braves remain hot. They are still, one of the hottest teams in the National League. The top 3 teams in the NL East have plus 56 run differential or better. The Dodgers are freaking gross. Who do you think has a bigger run differential, the Dodgers or the Yankees?
I'll go Dodgers have a bigger run differential. I'll say by at least 20 runs.
Then the Yankees have 7 more wins.
I'm still going to give the Dodgers a better run because the Yankees had a little bit of a stretch where they weren't scoring a lot. They did play a couple of close games, but I'm going to say LA still has them in a run differential battle.
The Yankees have them by 16 runs.
Damn.
Yeah, 159 to 143, which is absolutely gross. Those 2 teams will not play in the World Series.
No,
we'll call that right now.
And we say that because it is very rare that your top 2 teams in each league meet in the World Series. That is very rare that happens. I think the last time it happened was Tampa. Oh no, not even the year that Tampa went to the series against Dodgers. Dodgers, I think, had the best record in that short pandemic season. It's been a while, but since I believe the number 1 seeds have met in the World Series. We'll have to look that up later.
Well, you, my friend, will need to do that. But onward and upward, that's a quick recap of the last 2 weeks without Adam and I. Now you are all caught up. You know all the best things in the baseball standings. If you are a fan of the Rockies, Reds, Nationals, A's, Kansas City, or Baltimore, you are looking forward to the prospects you will be acquiring at the trade deadline in about a month. We'll talk more about that probably on next week's show. We talked a little bit about the sellers a couple weeks ago. We'll talk about mid-range next week and buyers for sure in a couple of weeks. And then probably that's all we'll talk about for, Anyway.
Yeah.
Adam, we had our, 5th and final, 6th and final,
7th, I believe, 7th City Connect.
City Connect jersey released. Have they played in these yet?
I don't believe they played. I'll look to see if they've worn these. I do not believe they have worn them yet.
Well, as a former San Diegan, I will break these down. The San Diego Padres vibrant City Connect jerseys, celebrating the friendship between San Diego, California, and Tijuana, Mexico, with their brand new colorful, vibrant City Connect uniforms, were revealed today by. Actually, wasn't today. That was a couple days ago, wasn't it?
July 1st.
Yeah, so 5 days ago. No
Yeah.
worries. So they are almost Mexican flag themed, like color wise. They have bright red and bright green and some yellow bands around the sleeves. You have San Diego across the chest in half red and half green with a yellow outline, almost in that same surf style font that the Angels had, but a little bit different. It does, man. This does look like San Diego. Like you drive around the beaches of San Diego, and these colors are literally everywhere. They have a Padre on the left sleeve, which is the bright green, almost like a mint green color. The hats are mint green with a red SD on them. I can't read what these things say that the pants and stuff are.
So
Say.
so the pants have two different stripes. There's a pink stripe on one side and a green stripe on the other side. So it's different color stripes on the pants, which is a little unique.
Does this say what the throwback is, or what the what the
Let me see if I can.
what they're hinting at or whatever, or getting at?
I didn't find what they're getting at with the theme of the jerseys, but I will say they are I think they're very clean City Connect, but I've never been to San Diego, but they just scream San Diego, almost like an early '80s version of San Diego. I would say with some sort of like graffiti paint that or like street art
Yeah,
that you would find
that's a good
find in San Diego.
that's a good reference. The San Diego lettering is very very San Diegan. I mean, these do look like you would find these colors and whatnot in San Diego, and it being right on the border of TJ. Yeah, it's a good jersey. It's a red belt, all white jerseys from white jersey, white pants. Yeah, it looks good, looks clean. I don't know where I'd rank them overall, but they're I don't hate them. I don't not in love with them, but they're out. They're gonna play in them soon. They're gonna be bright and flashy and enjoy San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
Better than the brown and mustard crap you've thrown out there before. I'll tell you that much. That's what I'd say.
Oh, I'm kind of a fan of the brown and mustard look. I think that's
of course you are.
I am. I'm actually more a fan of their brown San Diego jersey. I think that's a sick color. So these jerseys will be worn on Friday, and looks like they're going to wear them every Friday home game after that. So Fridays are going to be your City Connect days in San Diego.
That's cool. That's a cool.
I like that when you have a set day when you wear like a certain jersey. I know in Arizona they do Teal Tuesday, Teal Thursdays when they're home. They've done Thursday throwbacks. Sunday games are usually their Sedona Red jersey. So I like when teams set a jersey for a certain day and kind of theme it, because I think it's cool. If you're a fan, you know where you're going into, and you can kind of know what to expect when your team is taking the field. That's just my
opinion. Yeah, and if you're like Adam and you buy every version of your team's apparel, you'll know what to wear to the ballpark so that you match the players on the field.
I mean, hey, you never know. Could get called on the field that one day or two.
This isn't the NHL, bro. They don't have like goalies that they call in from the stands. They're not going to bring in you to catch the game because.
Oh, I would die if I was catching a game. There'd be one ball thrown. I mean, I would pretty much be thrown to the back of the backstop.
Oh goodness. But yeah, love the City Connect. I love the City Connect theme, the overall general idea. I mean, lots of teams have done different jerseys, and it's probably all for sales and stuff because, let's be honest, we all love our sports, but you have, the NFL has done Color Rush, NBA, I swear, they're like teams change their color themes overall every 10 years, which completely throws people off. Like, remember when the Jazz used to be purple? I remember when the Miami Heat used to be red and black, and now they got all kinds of funky shit going on.
Toronto Raptors were purple, black, and red for a while. Now they're black, gold, and red, something like that.
Yeah, but they still wear that other throwback stuff. Like, and then they talk about throwbacks, and they bring up the old jerseys that they used to wear back in the day, and it's like, all right, whatever. I don't get it, but it's all for ticket sales, I'm sure. But it is kind of fun. I blame the University of Oregon for this because they had so many different freaking jerseys. I think they had 45 different combinations at one point.
That sounds correct. And when we're talking about sports, one thing I did like was the NHL a couple years ago introduced a reverse retro, which they took a retro jersey and kind of reversed it with colors. So the Colorado Avalanche took an old Nordiques uniform or sweater and themed it in rock Avalanche colors. So I think it was cool paying homage to their former home. I like the Carolina Hurricanes. They will do Whaler jerseys once in a while. They pay homage to the Hartford Whalers, which I know a lot of hockey fans in New England love when the Whalers jerseys get thrown on the ice. So, but again, all for ticket sales, all for money. How much can you sell? How much can you get from a jersey?
I can't remember half of the teams in hockey that used to be other teams. Like the Avalanche used to be the
Nordiques.
The Nordiques.
Yeah.
Didn't the Winnipeg Jets didn't they move and then recreate them?
Yeah, so the Winnipeg Jets moved to Phoenix to become the Phoenix Coyotes. Then the Atlanta Thrashers moved to Winnipeg to become the Winnipeg Jets once again.
When are we going to get the Seattle Supersonics back? That's what I want to know.
Okay, thank you. The Supersonics need to return. And again, I love it because I think Supersonics, Kemp, Allen, Gary Payton. I mean, the old school Supersonics in the 90s. I mean, bring back the Supersonics NBA. Do the right thing.
What would be really cool, since Kevin Durant was drafted by the Thunder, which used to be the Sonics, is if they recreated the Sonics and then somehow Durant ended up there.
That would be
he wants out of Brooklyn. That would be
that
awesome.
Would be,
Let's do it next year. What team can we move there instantly and get rid of?
The New York Knicks, because they suck.
Yeah, that'll happen. That is a staple, bro. That's like an NBA staple. That's like you have a better chance of moving the Nets. You already moved them once.
Move them twice. Let's do it.
Move them again. Get them out of there. I was trying to think of like a lower market.
Sacramento Kings. They've been
there. You go. That's a good one. They suck. Oh man, they were good for a minute though. Like
they were
in the 90s when those guys that own the Palms own them. I don't even know who owns them anymore. All right, onward and upward. We talked City Connect. We talked the last 2 weeks of baseball. It is 7-6, so we are 11 days away from the MLB All-Star break, which kicks off with the MLB Draft, which will be televised this year on ESPN and probably MLB Network. The fun thing for older fans like Adam and I is the top two prospects are Andrew Jones's kid, Drew Jones, who used to be – he was probably like the first prospect class I remember. Like Andrew Jones and Cliff Floyd were like the first time I really remember – reading about the minor leagues and looking into, prospects and things like that when I was in high school and younger. And so to see his son be a top prospect in the MLB draft, and then the other one is Matt Holliday's kid. I can't remember his name, but anyway, he's like the number 2 prospect, number 1, number 2, both those guys. So I think that's pretty cool, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about the All-Star game finalists, but All-Star weekend. There are games that day on the 17th, like the last series of the first half end on the 17th. And then the draft starts that day or that night. And then All-Star voting. Adam, since you are a American League White Sox fan, why don't you go ahead and tell the folks who the finalists are for the positions in the National League and is that their current voting percentage right now?
Yeah, so I got this from MLB.com. This is their most up-to-date voting percentage in the finalist voting. So we'll start with catcher. So you have Alejandro Kurt of Toronto, who has 74% of the vote, leading Jose Trevino of the Yankees, who's at 26%. First base, you got Guerrero Jr. from the Blue Jays at 66%, Ty France from Seattle at 34%. Second base, Jose Altuve from the Astros at 56%. Santiago Espalda from Toronto at 44%. Third base, Rafael Devers of Boston at 58%. Jose Ramirez from the Guardians at 42%. Shortstop, you got Tim Anderson of the White Sox at 54%. Bo Bichette of the Blue Jays at 46%. Outfielders, so they're giving the top 4 outfielders the finalist spot because obviously they're going to choose 3 outfielders for the game. Mike Trout, the Angels at 39%. Juan Carlos Stanton of the Yankees at 22%. George Springer of the Blue Jays at 21%. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. of the Blue Jays as well at 18%. And designated hitter is actually a tie between Shohei Ohtani of the Angels and Yordan Alvarez of the Astros, who are splitting the vote at 50%. So if you want,
there's somebody missing here.
I can tell you who's missing.
There's
Aaron
a fucking
Judge.
there's an MVP candidate not on this list. What the fuck? Like the runaway MVP candidate.
Again, you're talking fan voting in this part.
Obviously, Toronto has nothing better to do.
I mean,
they're sprinkled. They're all over every single, like Alejandro Kirk. I mean, whatever. Catchers, whatever. But like, I mean, Espinal. Okay, like Altuve should run away with that. The third base race is probably the best one.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Devers and Ramirez should be.
I think Ramirez should have more votes than he deserves right now. I think he is deserving of the third base star because he has just had a fantastic season. Since he signed that extension with Cleveland, he's just been like hitting.
He is carrying that team.
He is literally carrying the team on his shoulders, and they better keep him healthy because God forbid he gets injured, that team's going to pretty much fall apart at the wayside.
They're going to fall apart at the wayside?
Yeah,
is that where teams usually fall apart? Is at the wayside?
Wayside, whatever you want to call it. So
I got no problem with that. I'm just wondering. I just want to stay away from the wayside myself so that I don't.
There you go.
No fun.
Another race that's interesting again. Aaron Judge should be on this finalist list. Either outfield or DH, he should be on this list. It's pretty much a crime that he's not on this list right now. He is the leading MVP candidate in the American League, and he'll probably end up making the All-Star game, but he's not going to start the All-Star game, which I think is a damn shame.
It's ridiculous, dude.
It is.
I whatever.
So
this should be like a mix of fan voting, player voting, and like coaches or something, or maybe even media, because like this is dumb. Although media fucks up the Hall of Fame a lot, so maybe leave them out of there.
So remember back in the day when they used to do when old school All-Star voting, where they did a combo of fan voting, player voting, coach voting. You would vote, and then they would tally everything. You take the top 3 from each position, maybe 6 outfielders total, and then the managers would choose pitchers. That's how you should do it. That's how it should be continued.
Yeah, I agree. This is dumb. I'm a little perturbed, Adam.
So before
not because and the funny thing is I'm a Mets fan, so I'm like I hate the Yankees, but Aaron Judge is he's just ridiculous, man. I mean, he's having a phenomenal year. If he stays healthy, he's the runaway MVP. I think it's super silly that he's not even listed here. I do think Yordan Alvarez is having a phenomenal year and deserves every bit of this. Stanton's having a good year. Springer and Gurriel are meh. I mean, whatever. Trout's going to get there just because of name recognition. I couldn't tell you if Tim Anderson's having that great a year, but I don't feel like he is, especially with the Sox not being that great. Altuve is having a phenomenal season. Vlad Jr. is having a pretty good year, but go ahead. Tim
Anderson's having an okay year. He did spend some time on the IL, but since coming back, he has been playing a lot better. But again, I look at that third base, Devers and Ramirez. That should be a lot closer than what it is right now. That race should be a lot closer, in my opinion.
For sure, my friend. Well, enough of yelling about the American League because we're not. We only have so many. You can vote 5 times a day, and I guess if you like, honestly, I just don't have the time for this because they make you go through a lot of shit just to vote.
I am not a robot. Of course,
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that 5 times to vote for and they make you vote for every single position, and like honestly, like unless you're like taking the time to know every position and every player and whatnot, you're more or less just voting for your team. And I don't need to do that and just misrepresent the entire sport by, voting for freaking James McCann when the dude hasn't played 40 games this year. Like, that's just ridiculous. But
So my question for you then, when you do you vote for your team or do you vote for the best player at that position?
a mix of both. If I don't have a strong opinion on a position, like catcher's hard for me to really put too many people on. Like I think the two guys that are on the National League list are solid. But then like from there, like if I know what's going on, it's basically because of fantasy baseball that I'll know what's going on with a certain position, and because I watch a lot of Mets baseball, so as long as they're playing people who have good players, then I'll know who they are. But other than that, it's hard to keep up with every player on every team. So the National League catchers are Wilson Contreras from the Cubs at 65%, Travis d'Arnaud from the Braves at 35%. d'Arnaud's actually having a pretty solid year. First base, Paul Goldschmidt, who is having an absolute monster of a year at 66%. Pete Alonso, also having a pretty good year, is first in the National League in RBIs, I believe. Top 5 in home runs, but Goldschmidt is easily the best first baseman. Second base, Jazz Chisholm from Miami at 59%. Ozzie Albies at 41% for Atlanta. I think that's solid. Jazz is having a good year. A lot of power out of him this year. Third base, again, is pretty much spot on with Manny Machado from San Diego at 51% and Nolan Arenado at 49% for St. Louis. Shortstop, this is where Atlanta's taking. This is where Atlanta has nothing better to do. Dansby Swanson at 51% and Trey Turner at 49%. I think Lindor deserves something there. He's had a pretty solid year as well. His batting average sucks, but he's 5th in RBIs in the National League, and he's not even on the list. Outfield is Mookie Betts from the Dodgers at 35%, Jock Peterson from San Francisco at 31%, Starling Marte from the Mets at 20%, and Adam Duvall from Atlanta at 14%. Again, Atlanta, do something else with your time. You have like 500 strip clubs there. Go there. Designated hitter Bryce Harper at 57%. Good for him. Was having another MVP season before he broke his finger. And of course, another Brave, William Contreras, Atlanta, 43%. How the fuck do the Braves have so many people on here? I mean, obviously they're winning a lot of baseball games, so they're going to have a lot of people on there, but I feel like this is swayed a little bit to Atlanta, especially looking like Toronto's not winning that many fucking baseball games. Why do they have so many people on there?
Who knows? Who fucking knows?
It's bullshit. People have better. Do something else with your time, people, or I'm going to start vote. I can't start voting to change the votes by now, but if I could, I would find you guys are all bots. These are probably some sort of bots that are just programmed correctly to vote for the Braves. Some super smart kid that lives in Atlanta. Anyway, what do you think about the National League, Adam? Anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I'm going with Jazz Chisholm Jr. from Miami. That kid's having a phenomenal year. I think he should get that second base start. I think he deserves it. No offense to Albies from the Braves, but I think this kid from Miami is going to end up being probably the face of that franchise within a couple of years, just the way he plays. I'm looking at his last 7 games. He's 4 runs, 8 hit, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 5 strikeouts, hitting 400 with an on-base percentage of 500, slugging 700 in just his last 7 games. I mean, overall, he's having a phenomenal year. 14 home runs, 45 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, an OPS of 860. He's hitting 254. I mean, this kid's good. I mean, if I'm Miami, I would definitely find a way to hang on to this kid.
There was a rumor. So, like, Miami had a players-only meeting, like, probably mid-May. And it lasted 90 minutes. And
that's never a good sign.
Apparently, the rumor was that, like, some of the veterans didn't like playing with Jazz Chisholm.
Really?
Yeah, like, he wasn't a good presence in the locker room, but nothing's come of it. And he's playing pretty well. So if you're someone that's not liked by your teammates, I don't think you play this well and whatnot. And they're not a bad baseball team either. I mean, they're not phenomenal, but they've got two really good pitchers. They've got some good bats, and Chisholm is playing pretty well. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think he deserves that spot. I'm trying to think if there's any massive holes. Like, there's no Juan Soto, but Juan Soto's not having a fantastic year in Washington.
You're not going to see Tatis Jr. in because he's been injured for the majority of the first half, so he probably will not be in the All-Star game. First base, I mean, I agree with what you said. Goldschmidt, I mean, he's just probably the best first baseman in the National League right now, just with his hitting and fielding and what he's doing with that Cardinals team right now. He went on that tear where he just got incredibly hot. And, I mean, we'll definitely see Alonso in the All-Star game. I'm pretty sure we'll see him at the Home Run Derby. I want to see Alonso in the Home Run Derby because I enjoy watching him in the Home Run Derby. He's just fantastic to watch. But yeah, the All-Star voting seems to be a lot of Blue Jays, a lot of Braves, which I hate when one team dominates the starting lineup for an All-Star game. I like when it's more spread out between teams where you maybe have no more than two players from one team in the starting lineup. But again, you're going to have this one team that will send 7 players to the All-Star game, start 5 of them, and you'll see them on the field for a majority of the game before they start subbing in the rest of the All-Stars.
Where did you have pitching numbers?
No, there weren't any pitching numbers available for the All-Star voting. I think that's
like
done.
There's some amazing pitchers this year. Like, there's like a lot of good.
Let me see if I can find that
pitchers.
real quick.
So namely Cortez for the Yankees, Rasmussen for the no, that's not it. Is it? No. Who am I thinking of? Who's the big lefty in Tampa?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I will find that here in a minute. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Tampa's pitching staff is going to be nasty, man. They don't even have Homeboy back yet, and they got Shane Baz back this year, and he's striking out everybody and their mother. So their pitching staff is unreal. They have Rasmussen, they have Springs, they have Baz, they have whoever I can't remember right now.
Are you talking about Brooks Rally?
No.
No? Damn.
Maybe it is Rasmussen. Hold on. Now I'm getting McClanahan. Shane McClanahan is pitching phenomenally for the Tampa Bay Rays. And then in the National League, you have Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins. You have Joe Musgrove from the Padres pitching very well. And then you have pretty much any pitcher on the Dodgers, Tony Gonsolin mainly, who is pitching lights out. So I'd love to see all-star numbers for pitchers when those start to come out. But it should be interesting to see how the votes shake out, see what happens with, all these Braves. It's just like, it's basically the 1993 World Series recreated. We'll just have the Blue Jays and the Braves on the field for this All-Star game.
Yeah, so you have until, so if you're listening and you want to know a vote, you have until Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern time to vote to help get your favorite player that starting spot. So they'll do the final rosters, and then obviously reserves will be announced, pitchers will be announced. And like most of the All-Star games except for the NBA, every team will have a representative at the All-Star game, which I like. I like that all teams are represented at the All-Star game.
Yeah. I guess. It's almost like the same thing the other way. It's like a participation trophy. You know, like if nobody deserves to be an all-star, you don't just do it because every team has to be represented. I mean, I get it. You're trying to draw fans in and whatnot, but there's other ways to do that with skills competitions and home run derbies and things like that. But it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. All right. Last 10 minutes of the show is always dedicated to the upcoming weekend series. We have 3 good ones to preview. Yankees, Red Sox lead us off. Adam, why don't you break down this series for us and give us your prediction?
All right, so always a good series when you get the Yankees and Red Sox, and it's a treat anytime when both teams are playing good. We get a 4-game series between these two teams. Game 1, you got Garrett Cole 7-2 with a 2.99 ERA versus Witkowski of the Red Sox 3-2 with a 3.12 ERA. Game 2, Cortez of the Yankees 7-3 with a 2.44 ERA. Up against to be determined. The Red Sox have not yet announced their Game 2 or Game 3 starters. Montgomery 3-2 with a 3.19 ERA will be starting Game 3, and you got Talion, who is 9-2, 3.63 ERA versus Pitiva of the Red Sox 8-6 with a 3.68 ERA to close out your ESPN Game of the Week. This should be a good matchup, in my opinion. The Yankees, even though they seem to have cooled down a little over the last couple weeks, from what I saw, they're still just fucking amazing. 58-23, 6-4 in their last 10. Have lost 2 in a row. They're going up against the Red Sox, who, again, we talked about this earlier, just seem to have climbed out of that AL East cellar to a 45-36 record. However, they're still 13 games back of the Yankees in the East. 13 games, so they could definitely make up some ground. Won't be anything I would say to start panicking about. If I go for a series prediction, I'm going to give a split. I say these teams split this series. I think these teams are playing good, yet they're starting to cool down a little. I say these teams probably go at each other for a while and split the series 2-2.
I want to see who the rotation thinks they're going to be. So we got Cole, Cortez, Montgomery, Talion. God, that Yankees pitching staff is just nasty. So Boston thinks they're going to throw out Winkowski, Michael Wacha, unknown, and Nick Pivetta. I think Pivetta and Wacha could get the job done. TBD is always a tough pitcher, though, man. That guy throws hard.
He does.
So I think the Yankees still take this series 3-. Fuck, man. They're playing like kind of dog shit lately. They lost to Pittsburgh yesterday, dude.
Ooh. Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree. 2-2. Series split. The very next series is completely useless because we don't know who's pitching anything. Let's see if we can take a gander at the old guess machine on Fantasy Pros. Blue Jays think they're going to throw out unknown on, is that Friday or is that Thursday? No, that's Thursday. So this series starts on Thursday. They don't know who they said, so they threw Berrios today and don't know tomorrow. But most likely Stripling, Manoah, and Kikuchi for the last 3, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday games. And then the Mariners, Gonzalez, Kirby, Ray, and Flexen. So Robbie Ray facing his old squad, the Blue Jays. So Seattle, while they are smoking hot, and Toronto, while they are ice cold. I don't like Seattle's pitchers. Don't scare me. Robbie Ray's been fine, but Kirby's been and Gonzalez is and Flexen is super meh. Stripling has been great as of late. Manoa is fucking amazing, and Kikuchi played for Seattle last year, so that's kind of interesting too. Or played for Toronto last year. Sorry, Seattle. Back. 3-1 Toronto.
Okay. So it's like you said, Seattle pitching is not really anything to kind of lock in. They've been very up and down this entire year. Robbie Ray has not been that Cy Young pitcher from last year. I would say the Mariners offense scares me a lot more than the Mariners pitching right now, because there are times when the offense can explode and have a good day, but there's the times where they can just come out flat and not really give you a good run support. Blue Jays, again, this team is very tricky to figure out, because at one point they'll be playing lights out baseball, they'll be pitching, they'll be hitting. Next thing, they'll just fall flat on everything. They won't be hitting. Their pitching will be lackluster. I agree with you, Chris. I'm going Blue Jays in a 3-1, because I think Blue Jays have the better offense right now. I think their pitching is a little better. Yeah, give me Blue Jays 3-1.
Excellent. Final series of the weekend features the ice-cold San Francisco Giants versus the blistering cold San Diego Padres. Webb versus Musgrove in the opener. Unknown for the Giants in Game 2 versus Blake Snell for the Padres, who's been trash. Carlos Rodon in Game 3 for the Giants versus Yu Darvish. Rodon at one point was a Cy Young candidate. He's still okay, but he's had a lot of struggles lately. Alex Wood on Sunday versus Al Gore. No, I'm just kidding. I can't remember the kid's first name. But all these pitchers actually have pretty okay numbers. Wood is 5.03 ERA, but he's a lot better than that number would indicate. Blake Snell is really the worst pitcher in this entire rotation. This is going to be a good pitching matchup series, in my opinion. I think there could be a lot of 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 games. Adam, how do you see this series going?
I would agree with that. I mean, two ice cold teams going into, and the fact that Blake Snell, who, when we thought this trade happened, we thought San Diego got the better deal of this trade from Tampa. It's now looking like Tampa has won this trade with San Diego, because Snell has not been that dominant pitcher that we saw in Tampa Bay. He has just been very, especially this year, very inconsistent. Doesn't even have a win under his belt yet, and we're almost to the All-Star break. I mean, there's a chance he can go winless in the first half going into the All-Star break. And knowing his pitching history, that's just unprecedented for him. That's unheard of.
None of the prospects they traded Blake Snell for are in the majors yet, though, right? Like,
I think
Blake Hunt, Cole Wilcox, and Francisco Mejia. Patino might be, but I can't remember. I don't know any of these guys.
I think they could be. I think they're either AA or AAA right now. They could get that call in the second half. Kind of down the stretch, we'll see how the Rays are doing in the second half if they decide to make that push. Again, two cold teams. I'm going a series split, 2-2. I like a split between these two. I think they're going to be close games. I don't see a blowout between these two teams. I don't think the offense is there for any of these teams right now. Series split for San Diego and San Francisco.
Serious split. When is Tatis coming back? I thought I heard something recently. So he can start swinging a bat again in like a week. Yeah, that's still a ways away. I sadly agree. I think the Pods probably win the Musgrove and Darvish games and lose the other games. Wood for sure on Sunday. TBD versus Blake Snell. Anybody's better than Blake Snell. That guy's terrible this year. I can't believe he's a former Cy Young winner.
Oh, it just blows my mind how bad he's been this year. Him and Robbie Ray right now are just not good. They're just not good at this.
This is why baseball needs Jake DeGrom.
Get him back on the mound.
Because at least when you had DeGrom and Bauer going at it, like they were legitimate Cy Young award-winning candidates instead of. But the American League Cy Young this year has been fantastic. What's interesting is like you got guys like Cortez, and a couple other guys that haven't done it before, and these are going to be the same dudes like Blake Snell and Robbie Ray that are just fucking trash. Like after this year, like nasty Nestor Cortez is probably going to be a joke next year. Watch.
I mean, I'll give you one pitcher in AL. Kind of, I'm going to be a little biased here. Dylan Cease of the White Sox. He leads I believe he's the league leader for the American League in strikeouts, 7-3 with a 2.51 ERA. I mean, he's just been phenomenal this year. Again, a little bias.
A little bias, he says. Let's see. I'm going to go over to Fangraphs and player pitching update. Oh, shit. I can't do. I'm going to have to do innings pitched. Let's see here. So 123. We'll give it like greater than 85. 8. All right. So, my favorite metric is weighted on base percentage. And McClanahan leads that at 225 on base average. His average against is 179. It's fucking gross. He has 133 strikeouts. So Dylan Cease is 21st. He has a 280 weighted on base average, which is pretty good. He has 125 strikeouts and a 209 against average. McClanahan has a 1.74 ERA to Cease's 2.51.
I believe McClanahan has him in strikeouts 133 to 125 for Dylan Cease. So
yep, they are 1-2 though.
Yeah, I mean they're racking up the strikeouts every time they go on the mound. So they're not. You're definitely gonna get some strikeouts from both these guys when they're on the mound.
Yeah, that's a man. I wonder what McClanahan's fucking Cy Young odds are right now. Let's look at American League Cy Young favorites. MLB futures. Where's awards? Cy Young Award winner. He is the favorite at plus 250, followed by Verlander at plus 260, Garrett Cole at 850, Ohtani at 900, Manoah at 1200, Cease comes in at 1700. 17-1 is pretty good odds for a guy that's second in the American League in a lot of categories.
Yeah, I mean,
Man,
I mean, it's going to be an interesting race for AL Cy Young, in my opinion. I think that's going to be a good, tight race.
I agree. National League Cy Young is pretty good as well. Alcantara at +125, Corbin Burns at 5-1, Musgrove at 8-1, Gonsolin at 10-1, Freed at 13-1, Wheeler at 18-1, Rodon same, Nola 25-1, Scherzer 40. No. Yeah, 40-1. Huh. Yeah, he's not going to come back and win it though. But it's been fun tonight. Jake DeGrom did throw 2 innings of a rehab start, threw 100 miles an hour a bunch of times and struck out 5 of 6 batters. So your reigning Cy Young god will be back on the mound soon. There are a lot of rumors that he won't be with the Mets for another year after this, but that's to be determined. So until then, he is a New York Met.
Until then.
Adam, anything else for the folks?
Yeah, a belated happy birthday to my co-host Chris. I know you celebrated your birthday yesterday. Did you do anything fun?
My wife and I and mother-in-law took my boys to see the new Minions movie at the drive-in, which haven't been to the drive-in in God knows how long, probably since I was in my 20s, and much different experience. The drive-ins here in Denver, at least the ones close to my house, are in a industrial area of town. So there were 2 trains, a plane, and a few fire trucks that went by during the movie. So you missed a good section of what was happening then. And also, the audio is run through the FM radio of your car. So you got to keep your battery running, and my battery died.
Oh, damn.
So that was fun. Had to get a jump start from another patron there at the movie theater, but that was fun. And Mr. Kunos, your birthday is tomorrow.
It is.
July 7th. So Adam and I just found this out recently. We had started this podcast after our birthdays last year, so we didn't really even think about it. And then this year, I don't even remember why we were talking about it. Probably because of the trip that Adam had, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be my birthday the day before the podcast." And he's like, "Oh really? It's my birthday the day after the podcast." Oh holy shit! So happy birthday to Adam early. What do you and your wife have planned?
Well, I will be going to work because I just got back from multiple trips, so I will be working, and then we'll probably go out to dinner later that night when I get home. So nothing too major. Just probably some dinner, celebrate the drink.
What
37 looks so young.
37 years young.
37 years young. I think there's this tap house I want to go to at Disney, a brewery tap house that they have to do some craft beer drinking, probably some burgers. Can't go wrong with that.
Never, my man. Well, my fellow friends, Adam and I enjoyed having you listen to the podcast this evening. We look forward to the next few weeks as we head into the All-Star break. There's a lot of fun data behind baseball, a lot of fun trades that are going to happen this year because of how contracts and everything are working, because of how crazy the trade deadline was last year. I'm sure we will see every team make a move or two. Some could be double dippers where they're buying and selling at the same time. So we look forward to bringing you all the baseball news over the coming weeks. But until then, have a wonderful evening.
Have a good night, everyone. Be safe.